Hi again, everybody. Welcome to the Bricks and Bleachers podcast. All things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. First and foremost, the Cubs have clinched a spot in the postseason. It's a long time coming. Cubs offense seems to be picking up steam, and we'll take a look back at some season opening predictions, plus much more just ahead. Cubs win this afternoon in Pittsburgh 8-4. Cubs sweep the series, and they've now won 8 of their last 10 series, stretching back to mid-August. This afternoon's game looked like it was going to be a sprint. Cubs led 4-3 after the first inning. Pirates tied it at 4 in the second. And then the Cubs did all the scoring after that, putting up 3 in the sixth, 1 more in the eighth. Ian Happ and Moises Ballesteros both homering today for the Cubs. And Trea Suzuki back in the lineup, first time in a week after a lengthy illness. He went 0 for 3, eventually replaced by Kevin Alcantara. Michael Boyd with a tough outing this afternoon. His shortest start of the year, just 3 innings pitched. Control was a problem, and he has been struggling in recent outings, really all the way back to the middle of August. But the bullpen looked good. Seems like Craig Counsell's still trying to figure out exactly how to utilize Porter Hodge. He appeared in the 4th inning today. Aaron Savali took care of the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings, and then we saw 1 inning each from Drew Pomerantz and Taylor Rogers. A look at the postseason. As of mid-evening on Wednesday, we see 3 spots have been clinched, all in the National League. Phillies have won the East. Milwaukee with a 4.5-game lead over Chicago in the Central. Both teams have clinched a spot. Then you've got the Dodgers and Padres battling for the West. Padres trailing the Dodgers by a couple of games there. And the Mets are currently the 3rd wild card team in the National League. Over in the American League, Toronto with a 5-game edge in the East. Tigers are up 5.5 in the Central. And Seattle has now won 10 in a row to take the lead in the American League West. Yankees, Astros, Red Sox, the 3 wild card teams at the moment. But the Guardians are just 2.5 behind the Sox. Rangers are 3.5, and the Sox have been struggling the last couple of weeks. So we could see some switching up of that 3rd wild card positioning here in the American League in the coming days. Cubs are currently 4.5 games behind the Brewers in the National League Central. The door is just slightly open for them to still be able to take the division, but with no head-to-head matchups the rest of the way, I'm pretty sure we're looking at the Cubs as the first wild card team in the National League, and that's good because that means they will still host a first-round series. Cubs are now 88-64 after this afternoon's win in Pittsburgh. I said in late March this team would end up with a win total of 87. So they've now upped that total by 1 with 10 games to go. In my wildest imagination, I was thinking this team could even push the limit up to 92 wins. And I think the Cubs are going to surpass that here in the days ahead. A couple other predictions to look back at. I said Pete Crow Armstrong would have a breakout year, both at the plate and in the field. That certainly has been the case. Certainly through July, that was the case. It seems that PCA is starting to get more comfortable again at the plate. Really a great period of struggle throughout the month of August and continuing into early September, but it seems that he is starting to find his way once again. Also said Kyle Tucker and Trea Suzuki would join PCA as the 3 drivers of the Cubs offense. And I think that, too, has come to fruition. When those 3 guys have been on, this offense may be the best in baseball. And when we've seen the team struggle, it's been really overlapping with the time when all 3 of those guys have been cold, such as the entire month of August. Also expected the rotation to experience some hiccups, either injury or regression. That has been the case, but depth would carry them through, I said back in March. And we've seen that take place as well. Cade Horton, a big asset for this team. If you remember the second half of 2015, you remember Jake Arrieta was unstoppable. Stats being put up by Cade Horton this year, post-All-Star break, are almost identical to what Arrieta put up back in 2015. I did not give Cade Horton a mention in that late March episode of predictions, but pretty much the other predictions mentioned on that episode have been proven accurate. This and that, a look at news and notes from around Major League Baseball. Mentioned earlier that the Mariners have won 10 in a row coming into Wednesday's play. They've been winning big, too. Run differential in those 10 games is more than 50. During that stretch, they've had more than 20 home runs, more than 10 stolen bases, and the Mariners pitching staff has recorded more than 100 strikeouts. Truly amazing in all facets of the game. Coming into this season, expectations were pretty low for the Athletics. Playing in a minor league stadium, whole lot of controversy and low expectations surrounding the ball club. But I'd say they've turned out to have a pretty exciting season. 71 wins so far, greatly exceeding expectations. And throughout this campaign, they've had 2 Rookie of the Year candidates. First half of the year looked like Justin Wilson might be leading in that category. And now you got to say it's Nick Kurtz. In case you missed it over the weekend, he hit the longest home run of the season, 493 feet. In fact, it's the longest homer in the majors in over 2 years. Cubs faced Paul Skeens yesterday in Pittsburgh. It was his 54th career start, and amazingly, throughout his career, he's carrying an ERA of 2, an even 2.00. Likely the NL Cy Young winner this year, despite very little run support, leading to a losing record this year. All right, back to the Cubs. The Cubs appear to be getting healthy at the right time. Seiya Suzuki back in the lineup today after missing last 5 or 6 games. Miguel Amaya is working his way back to joining the Cubs as well. And Daniel Palencia is on track to begin a rehab assignment this weekend, hopefully to return by season's end. But the status of Kyle Tucker remains a mystery. He's been out for a couple of weeks with a calf injury. He can throw and hit, but running is an issue, and he simply isn't seeing any improvement. He actually has now left the team to meet up with a physical therapy group in Florida. Cubs held him out of the lineup a few days early this month. Then, I think it was a Monday night, they said he will probably come back the next day, meaning on Tuesday. And then Tuesday rolls around, they put him on the IL, and that's where he's been. So now today we get word that progress on that calf injury has been non-existent. Hopefully a second opinion will help him return to the lineup before October, because the Cubs definitely need him in the lineup come October. You got to wonder what the impact of 2 notable injuries this season, plus one that sidelined him for half of last year, will have on his contract negotiations in the offseason. Really think the contract value will be coming down from original expectations, both in dollars and years. But while one would probably say that helps the Cubs retain him, you got to wonder about the status of that relationship at this point. I have a feeling even a shorter and less expensive deal than originally thought will not be enough to keep him in Chicago in 26 and beyond. Cubs and Reds square off this weekend in Cincinnati. It's a 4-game series starting Thursday evening. Cubs partied big time after clinching the postseason spot this afternoon. So my expectations for the series opener are pretty low. Plus, the Reds will be trotting out Hunter Green as their starter tomorrow night. After tomorrow night, I hope we'll see a continued resurgence of the Cubs offense, but that's easier said than done. Reds have a pretty solid rotation, and the Cubs have missed seeing the Reds rotation at their best when the teams have met earlier the year, largely due to injuries. But the Reds rotation seems to be getting healthy again. Cubs have not yet announced their starters for this weekend series in Cincinnati. After that, they wrap up the season next week at home. An off day Monday, then 3-game sets with the Mets and Cards. On X, chime in with your thoughts, whether it's the Kyle Tucker situation or anything else. Bricks Bleachers on X, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and more. All things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. It is the Bricks and Bleachers Podcast.